So on to number 5. This is going to stretch the front of the body and in particular the psoas muscle, which I haven't talked a lot about, but I'm going to do another video just talking about the psoas because it's such a significant muscle, especially for people who've been in fight or flight constantly or have kind of gotten stuck in that fight or flight pattern. The psoas is known as the fight or flight muscle. So as that stretches and opens, sometimes if we've been holding in emotion, it can come out. And the way we'll do it today is my feet are hip width apart, my knees are a little bent. I'm going to go ahead and put my hands on my backside and push my hips forward as I squeeze gently my shoulder blades. So I'm putting a little lift in the chest. I'm not throwing my neck back though. I'm keeping my eyes on the horizon. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths here, and then I'm going to start to rotate my hips first. My hips are going to rotate to the right, and then gently I'm going to look off my right shoulder and down to the ground. Now don't do anything that feels uncomfortable, but if you can take 3 breaths here, that's great. Then you're going to move back to center, and again, make sure that you haven't come back this way. We want the hips pushed forward, the shoulders squeezed so that we're lifting at the spine, and we're going to start to twist to the left now, gently looking over and down the left shoulder. 3 breaths here. Back to the center. 3 breaths here. Now when you come up, for some people, you might want to shake your arms out and your legs out. With my scoliosis, this has never been my favorite, but it definitely stretches that psoas. Now the psoas can be a very resistant muscle. I do a lot of psoas work with clients, doing massage, and I've also had psoas work, and it's sensitive, it's defensive, and it can be uncomfortable. So the reason why I love TRE is your body is doing the releasing from the inside and not having someone come in and try to kind of force relaxation on it. So it's just much more effective. Yeah, so that's number 5. Number 6 is a wall sit. So I'm gonna just come right over here, my little space on the wall. Actually, let me show you my feet. Move that. Because what we don't want is your feet to be too close to the wall so that when I'm sitting, I can't see my toes. Let's see, this is a little bit movie. So what I do want is when I'm sitting here, I can see my toes and the tops of my feet. And it's a great place to just take a deep breath, exhale. Just feel where your shoulders are, feel if there's any tension there that you can relax on your own. Noticing the jaw, noticing if you're tremoring already, which I am. Sometimes checking in with any emotions that are there. And being on the wall is good for like 3 to 5 minutes. So if you find that you're too low and it's feeling, difficult, you're going to move up the wall like a ½ inch or an inch at a time. So then it's just less strenuous so that you can stay a little bit longer here. So it's more about the duration rather than the intensity. It's not boot camp. You do it, again, not getting past like 6 or a 7. Just letting the muscles start to get fatigued. Again, it's the hamstrings this time. Not going to sit here for that full length of time, but when you're done, you just push yourself off the wall, knees bent, come into a forward fold. Now we're stretching the back of the hamstrings and the whole length of the back and the neck included. You know, you want to make sure you're really letting the head hang. So maybe even taking a few deep breaths here. You can stay there for about a minute before coming up and doing that little shake of both legs. Now, the next thing we're going to do is get on the floor. So this is the last set of exercises because the floor is considered kind of like one, but there's several parts to it. So I'm gonna just get started on showing you that. So we're gonna come into a reclined butterfly. So I'm laying relaxed. My soles of the feet are touching and I'm actually keeping my heel as close to my body as I can. Some people, you know, you're gonna have all different levels of tightness in some of these muscles. Again, I've done a lot of yoga in my life, so this is where I sit and it's comfortable. You do what's comfortable for you with the knees opened up. You're gonna stay here for about a minute. Once you get onto the ground, I do suggest, if it feels safe for you, to close your eyes. That's a way, you know, it'll kind of calm the nervous system as well. Some people don't feel that comfortable, so you can keep your eyes open. But after a minute, you're gonna start to raise the hips. Okay, so my feet are pressing together. I'm keeping the knees open and I'm lifting the hips wherever you can lift them. If you can stay here for at least a minute, that'd be great. If you need to go down, I would suggest coming back up if it hasn't been about a full minute, but taking your time, taking breaks as needed. Now after a minute, when you come down, you let the knees open up all the way again. Take a couple breaths, just relax here. Again, when I breathe and I exhale loud like that, that loud audible sigh, it's a signal to my brain that it can relax, that it's safe. And it also is, I can just feel my body kind of relax and release and give all my weight onto the floor. And so it's a good practice if you're comfortable making that sound. It's like a sigh of relief. So anyway, we've been there long enough. We're gonna move the feet, still sole to sole, out away from the body so that now there's a diamond shape in the legs. From here, we're gonna move both knees at the same time around 2 inches. And I would say hold it 2 minutes if you can. Once you've been here for 2 minutes, which I'm not gonna stay here, but you're gonna go another 2 inches and stay for about 2 minutes. Once that 2 minutes is up, you're gonna move for a third time, 2 inches up and hold for 2 minutes. Now by the time you get here, you could notice light tingling, inner kind of trembling in the bones, or you might notice heavy tremoring and shaking and moving in the body. If you're feeling enough, you can put the feet, release them from sole to sole contact and put them down on the ground, feet flat, side by side touching, and keeping about the hips the distance in between the knees. And this is where you're going to be for the majority of the time that you're tremoring. Okay. Now, for me, I can feel tremoring, but it's very light. Everyone, you know, different days, different things will happen, right? But I need a little bit more time with the exercises. Sometimes I need to be a little bit more in this hips up position. But again, as you do the exercises, you're going to feel exactly how much you need to get where you need to be to start to feel the tremoring in the body. Now, that tremoring eventually will, and I'm going to show, I have videos actually that show once you do get in the tremoring, what it looks like, okay? And the only thing you need to know is when you're doing it, in the beginning, I would suggest maybe 10, 12 minutes and giving it a couple days and then trying it again and taking it slow until you get a sense for your reactions. Again, sometimes all the tremoring and the releasing of stress in the muscles will actually open up feelings that have been there, and they can come up. There can be tears, there can be even anxiety or some kind of flight or fight sensations, right? Heart palpitations, this kind of thing. As long as none of it's overwhelming and you can breathe through it and just kind of be there to observe it, then you're safe. If anything starts to feel too much, it's very easy to just take a break by putting your legs down, and the tremoring should stop and you can just relax and breathe here. If and when you feel ready again, you just come right back into feet flat, side by side touching, with the knees bent and with the knees about hip width apart. Okay? Now, if you put your legs down and you still feel like you're tremoring and you don't want to, you just flex your feet back to yourself for about a minute like that. And then when you relax, the tremoring should be gone. Okay? I suggest every 5 minutes in the beginning, you take a break. Whether you feel you need it or not, it's a time that the body integrates these subtle changes, and just for you to feel and notice what's happening in those quiet moments. And then you can come back and the body will go right back into the shaking. It's a natural instinctual thing, and once it's activated, your body will get more and more used to it. Some people don't even have to do the exercises, or not much of it, once they've done it enough, because they get on the ground, the body knows what it's about to do and it'll go into the tremoring. Again, it all depends on what you've been through, how your body's holding it, and yeah, then your innate intelligence will lead the way for you if you trust it. Okay? So at the end, you would just want to do an extended relaxation period for yourself. Like instead of a minute, you spend at least 3 minutes just relaxing, either on your back, you can do it on your side, or you can do it on your stomach. Okay? And I'm trying to think if I've missed any parts. Three important things while you're in the process, if you aren't with a practitioner and you're doing it on your own, is to ask yourself these 3 questions. The first one is, am I present? Again, this is about people who have made dissociation something that's very comfortable for them, in a way to not really notice and be aware of what's happening in the body. So if you find yourself dissociating and you're not being present to being here in this moment with the tremor, then just kind of pull yourself back. Maybe use the breath to stay with it. If it feels like a struggle, just take a break. And if it really feels like a struggle, then maybe it's time to ask someone else to help you with exercises. The second thing is to know, am I comfortable? That means physically and that means emotionally. So if you're on a surface and your sacrum starts hurting, or something's pinching in your neck, and you're not gonna be able to relax fully and allow the tremoring to happen, right? The more you relax, the more you release. So I always suggest, get a nice cushy blanket. You know, get something that you can fold up neatly and have from under your hips to the top of your head to soften the area under the sacrum. Sometimes a thin pillow, nothing too high, because you don't want to have the head elevated too much. You want the vertebrae pretty straight, but you can put something small under the base of the neck in that little concave area where your neck is. Again, don't have the blanket under your feet. You want your feet to be able to be up against the mat. And emotionally, like being emotionally comfortable is what it means, is just like if it starts to feel overwhelming, like tears come up, you're sobbing, you're crying, as long as you're comfortable, as long as it feels healthy and releasing, you could be really crying, it's okay. If it starts to feel distressing, that's when you need to take a break. And again, if it is something that feels too much, then you find someone who can kind of hold your hand and guide you through the process until you feel like you can regulate yourself alone. Okay? Third, do I feel safe? It's such an important thing to ask you. A lot of us who are trauma survivors, we kind of just aren't in touch with what does it feel like to feel safe. You know, if you've never felt that when you were growing up, then you grow up kind of not really understanding what it feels like to be safe in your own body. So it's something you can learn though, and checking in with yourself and just to the subtle signs your body will show you if you don't feel safe. That's what we're kind of just building, is that awareness. Do I feel safe? Okay, you know, my heart's racing and I'm starting to feel a little panicked, and or I'm having a flashback to something that happened before, so I'm not really present. Okay, I'm not feeling safe. Let's take a break, right? And again, if this is something that feels too overwhelming to start on your own, there are amazing practitioners out there. But I really, you know, I did it on my own to begin with. You know, a lot of people are able to do this for general stress relief, and and just muscular tension release. And it's very, very comforting. It's a wonderful feeling. It's helped me with my chronic pain from my scoliosis. It's helped me get back, you know, so much of my cognitive learning and planning and all of these things for a while felt like it kind of came to a standstill in my life. It was very difficult for me. Yeah, very painful. So for a short time, I felt really debilitated, and after doing consistently this TRE work, I'm back into life. And my life, there's a lot of things that haven't changed. There's still a lot of struggles, but yet I'm able to face it and feel regulated and comfortable, and more than comfortable, like feeling good actually. So I highly, highly recommend TRE. It's one of my favorite things. So I want you all to try it and then tell me how it goes. And if you have any questions, reach out. I'm going to put some things down, my own website, because again, I work in Florida locally doing bodywork and TRE, but I do online sessions as well all over the world. And people have great experiences, and they range. I'm actually hoping to get some people to speak about some of the things that they've experienced after doing several sessions of TRE, how it's changed their lives. So look forward to posting more. I am like, how did I go this long not sharing? But I'm ready. 2024 is my year. Year of the Dragon, February 10th, Chinese New Year. I'm like, yes, it's my year. And I hope you guys can find some comfort in what I'm offering today. Good luck.